Hello to all my little elephants. Remember yesterday I told you we're going to start reading a very important and special story in the Bible. And it's the story how Jesus was born. And yesterday we read that Mary was spoken to by an angel, and the angel told her that she was going to have a son, a baby boy, and that his name will be Jesus. Let's read today's story. God speaks to Joseph. When Joseph found out that Mary was going to have a baby, he thought that she had lied to him, and he was very upset. He decided they were not going to get married anymore. But before he could say anything to Mary, God spoke to Joseph in a dream. Mary has not lied to you. The baby she is carrying was from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you will call him Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. When Joseph woke up, he felt so much happier. Mary had been true to him, and now he would do all he could to keep her and the baby safe. So they were married as quickly as possible. We'll carry on reading that story tomorrow. Let's put our hands together, close our eyes, and let's say our new prayer. Dear Jesus, please show me how to spend this day, sharing love in every way. Help me to be kind to everyone, to play and laugh and have great fun. Shining your light and giving your grace, sharing your joy with a smile on my face. Amen. Who is the king of the jungle? Who is the king of the sea? Bubble, bubble, bubble. Who is the king of the universe? Who's the king of me? I'll tell you, J-E-S-U-S. Yes, he is the king of me. He is the king of the universe, the jungle and the sea. Bubble, bubble, bubble. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Who is the king of the jungle? Who is the king of the sea? Bubble, bubble, bubble. Who is the king of the universe? Who's the king of me? I'll tell you, J-E-S-U-S. Yes, he is the king of me. He is the king of the universe, the jungle and the sea. Bubble, bubble, bubble. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Who is the king of the jungle? Who is the king of the sea? Bubble, bubble, bubble. Who is the king of the universe? Who's the king of me? I'll tell you, J-E-S-U-S. Yes, he is the king of me. He is the king of the universe, the jungle and the sea. Bubble, bubble, bubble. He is the king of the universe, the jungle and the sea. Bubble, bubble, bubble. Woo, woo. Woo, woo. Woo, woo. Woo. Time to do the weather chart. Now the weather's changed again today. The clouds have come back a little bit, but the sun is still shining. So we say our weather is partly cloudy, because there's only a little bit of clouds. Then, yesterday was Wednesday, so today is Thursday. Good job. And if yesterday was the 20th of May, today is 21st 1, the 21st of May. So we can take the 0 away and add the 1. It's still May and it's still autumn. Can we read it together? Our weather for today is partly cloudy. Today is Thursday, the 21st of May. The season is autumn. Hands behind your back.
One little thumb went out one day and met another thumb along the way. They gave a little hug and began to play. La 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 la. They waved goodbye at the end of the day. One tall finger went out one day and met another finger along the way. They gave little hugs and began to play. La 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 la. Waved goodbye at the end of the day. Two tall fingers went out one day and met two other fingers along the way. They gave little hugs and began to play. La 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 la. Wave goodbye at the end of the day. One baby finger went out one day and met another baby along the way. They gave little hugs and began to play. La 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 la. Wave goodbye at the end of the day. A whole finger family went out one day and met another family along the way. They gave little hugs and began to play. La 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 la, and waved goodbye at the end of the day.
This week we've talked all about autumn, what the trees do in autumn, what the animals do in autumn. But what do we do in autumn? Well, there's lots of things we have to do. It's getting colder every day, and that means we need to start wearing warmer clothes. You can wear jackets and long pants and long sleeves, and if it's very, very cold, you can wear gloves and you can wear hats to keep your head warm. You also need to start wearing closed shoes. But now in autumn, the day can start cold, but when you're playing outside, it can get very, very hot. So then you can start taking off your jackets so that you don't feel so hot. And then when it starts getting colder again, then you put your jackets on to keep you warm. And we must stay warm because if you're going to get cold, you are going to get sick. You're going to get the flu or a cold, so you'll get a runny nose or a sore throat or a cough. And this is just the normal flu that we get every year because it's getting colder and there's more and more germs in the air, so we can get sick easily. In autumn, the sun, we've said this lots of times, the sun comes up later in the day and it goes to bed earlier at night. And that means we like to spend more time in our bed because in our bed it's warm and snuggly, and sometimes it can be very hard getting up in the morning because it's so cold, especially if you have to get up early to go to school. I know sometimes in autumn it's very difficult to get out of bed because it's so cold. In autumn we start eating food and drink things that will keep us warm from the inside. So we don't eat ice cream anymore when it's cold. we don't have milkshakes. Instead, we might have soup that'll keep us warm, or stew. The food Mummy and Daddy makes for you will keep you warm. And then we can start drinking things like hot chocolates or Milo or tea, and that will keep us warm on the inside. And now all these foods, the soup and the stew, are full of healthy vegetables, because we need all these vegetables to help keep us healthy in the winter time so that we don't get sick. If you eat lots of fruit and vegetables, then you won't get sick. Also, in autumn, we start to eat more food. And this is just because our body needs more food to make more energy to keep us warm. Your body has to use up all its energy just to keep you warm, because it's getting so cold now in autumn. But there is one very important thing you need to remember, and that is this. In winter, you still need to drink water, because sometimes in autumn and in winter, you don't feel like drinking cold water, so then you're going to get very, very thirsty. So you must please remember, in autumn and in winter, you must remember to drink water. It doesn't have to be cold water out the fridge. You can even ask Mommy to make you a little bit of warm water by mixing cold and hot water together. You can get some nice warm water to drink, so it will warm you up from the inside, and it will also stop you being thirsty. Now, we said that we need to eat food that will keep us warm on the inside, like soup, and we need to drink more water, and we need to eat things that are going to keep us healthy. So that's fruit and vegetables, because when we eat these fruit and vegetables, it goes into our tummy, and from our tummy it goes into our body to give us energy. But it also helps to make the soldiers in our body strong, because if we eat vegetables and drink lots of water, our body can be strong on the inside, so that we're not going to get sick. We're not going to get the flu. We won't have a runny nose. And it's so much better when we're not sick in autumn. Now, here's something really, really cool about autumn. In autumn, your brain works better. So your brain helps you to remember things better in autumn. That's so cool. So in autumn, your brain works better, and that means you remember things better in autumn. That's pretty cool, hey? Today we are going to make a beautiful decoration that you can hang up inside your house that will show you all the beautiful colors of autumn. Now what you need is a paper plate like this, and you're going to have to ask Mommy or Daddy or maybe a big brother or sister to help you, because you need to cut out the middle of your plate like this. See, so it's got a hole in the middle, just like that. Then you're going to take all your autumn colors, orange, yellow, red, brown, and you can use a little bit of green, and you're going to color in your whole paper plate all these different colors. Now that you are finished coloring in your paper plate, now it's time to have fun. Go out into the garden and find as many autumn leaves as you want. Get them in all different colors: yellow, green, orange, red. And what we're going to do
is, with our glue, you're going to stick your leaves all the way around, however you want them to be. Doesn't matter if it goes over your colouring. The colouring was so that if there was some place that didn't have a leaf, like over here, then that's fine. It's at least got a little bit of colour. You can just use normal Pritt. It will stick your leaves nicely. Decorate all the way around your paper plate. And that's my last leaf. I've now got leaves all the way around my circle, and now I need a way to hang it. So what we need is string or ribbon. At my house I was lucky, I found some red ribbon. So you're just going to take a short piece. You might need to get Mom and Dad's help for this. See, and you're going to take your string like that, and you're going to take this side, whoops, and put it like that, so it makes like a loop. Okay, so now we need to put a bit of glue, and remember, we take this side and put it on the other end, and now you've got a way to hang it. Now we need to stick this, so where it's together we put a little bit more glue, and we're going to see if we can hide this under one of the leaves. Let's see. I'm going to hide it here under this leaf. There we go. And now you can hang it just like that from your wall. And if you want to, you don't have to. I've also got some big red ribbon, and I'm going to make a bow for my decoration. So ask Mommy and Daddy for a little bit of help, and we're going to make a bow just like that one. Put a little bit of glue on the back. And ta-da! You have a beautiful autumn decoration to hang in your house. Just wait for it to dry, and then you can find a special place to put it in your home.
Our story today is called The Autumn Elf. Now, when we were in the elephant class, we read a story called The Acorn Elf about the elf named Oki. Can you remember that story? Now, this story today, The Autumn Elf, has no pictures. So you need to think and make the pictures in your head. All right, are we ready? Let's start our story. The Autumn Elf. The birds were screaming. They were calling and bomb diving. Who were they making such a fuss about near the blue water between the green reeds? And who was that poor little fellow who looked so strange? His orange cap hung over his ears, and he had patches on his trousers. He was dirty and brown and crinkled like a dry leaf. Only his 2 black feelers stood up from his head. He was an elf, and he was trying to move into an empty bird's nest. The birds did not want him to move into that bird's nest. There are already such a lot of us. There is no room for any more. screamed Ruth Redfinch. "Go away! Off with you! Quickly, go!" shouted Jerry Greenfinch, and tried to peck the elf. "We already have too little food. What are you doing here?" Flippy Finch was sorry for the poor little man. Poor little elf. He is so small, and he doesn't take up too much room, and he won't eat very much food. Can't he just live in the empty nest? He won't bother anyone. The birds thought about it. "Oh, all right," they said. "You must stay there, but don't bother us. Summer is almost over and autumn is coming. Every day the sun gets up later and the days get shorter and colder. Our little finches complain we have to spend the whole day looking for food and taking it to them. We can't give attention to you. We have a lot of work." The elf put all his things down in the nest. Then he went and sat in the door of the nest. He looked as faded and brown as the grasses from which the nest was made of. Small Flippy Finch swooped closer. "Chip, chip! Excuse me," he chirped. "Who are you?" "I am the autumn elf," said the elf shyly. "I always come to help the animals get ready for winter." Flippy Finch flew to his mother straight away. Mum, guess what? He's the autumn elf." "The autumn elf? I didn't know. It's true. It is getting light a little bit later every day, and the days are getting colder," said Frida Finch. The finches watched the elf. He didn't talk much, but he was busy every day. He built the dearest little houses out of leaves and twigs for the insects and small animals. Now the finches could really feel it. It was almost autumn. The sun went down earlier and earlier, and the wind at night got colder. Luckily, the finches' young ones were almost big enough to look after themselves now. And luckily they had cozy, warm nests. One of these days it would be winter, and many of the animals were getting ready to sleep for the whole of winter. They would die in the cold if they did not have nice, warm, snuggly nests. Many of the animals were not as clever as the birds at making nests, so they needed the autumn elf to help them build houses and collect food. As well as helping to build houses, the autumn elf had many other autumn duties. He painted the leaves of each tree, orange, red, yellow, and brown. Then he shook the tree until the leaves fell off. The tree also needed to rest, and it could not rest if it had to look after all its leaves. If the tree had a good rest during winter, it could make new leaves for next summer. The days got colder and shorter. The wind blew the brown dead leaves up in the air. Hedgehog yawned and yawned. His bedtime got closer and closer. His house was almost finished. The autumn elf only had to put in the last door. Now the hedgehog could make a cozy warm mattress from the fallen leaves. All the time the autumn elf got paler and thinner. The finches were afraid he would disappear altogether, but he kept on working. The squirrel could hardly keep her eyes open, she was so tired, but she and the elf carried the last nuts into her house. Then she went into her house, wrapped up her long tail around her body, gave the autumn elf a kiss on the nose, and closed her eyes. The elf packed bark neatly around her door so that no one could find it and bother the squirrel. Goodness, the poor elf is very thin and pale. I wonder if we will still be able to carry on with his work, thought Flippy Finch. That night when the autumn elf crept into his house. But Flippy would never find out, because that night winter came, and the animals never saw the autumn elf again. The end. I hope you all enjoyed learning more about autumn today. But you know what? The best way to learn about autumn is to go outside, look at the trees, look at their leaves, listen to them crunching under your feet, smell the fresh autumn air, and feel the cool autumn breeze on your skin. I'll see all of you tomorrow. Miss you lots, love you lots.